All right, so I wanted to get into kind of what happened with this match with Felix and Sinner. Felix is sort of one of my players that I like, so I wanted us to pretty much dive deep into his match with Sinner. It was a few things. Sinner being the overall favorite. Felix did have some areas where he could have done some damage. Early on, there was easy blowout. First set for Center, of course. He was getting no rhythm. Felix was getting no rhythm off the returns, and it just seemed like there wasn't enough contested shots. Like he would pull back. Felix would pull back on his backhands and just go straight to the middle. And he didn't really fix that. Maybe towards like the third set even, which just shows he was ready to run the whole match. He wasn't ready to kind of, I would say, check the areas where he's hitting. He was more or less trying to grind, every point, which is plausible. But I mean, Sinners, that's basically his game. He's flattening every shot. He's gonna take it on the rise easily. So I mean, that's why you have a lot of rallies where Felix is like going from the one quarter of the baseline and then running all the way back to the net from a drop shot, or he's running from middle to side, and he's not getting more pace. The more movement, you should have more pace. But there was some great points where Felix was down. He was down, 40-15, 40-30. He did climb back. I think it was 6-1, 6-3, 4-2, Centers up, 40-15, and Felix just plays a drop shot. There's so many times where Felix just leads into that deuce court. He never really changes direction. That is a big opportunity, especially when you've already captured a set. Like he was in the third set. In the fourth set, he already has one set on his belt. He needs to pull his position more and more and more and more and more, and not really stay too tight on that baseline. That's why a lot of people think he could have used the slice more. He could have chip and charge. That all of those things pull your weight away from the baseline. Like to do a slice, you can't just stay on the rise and stay on the baseline. That takes a lot of movement to be on the right angle with that slice. So I mean, change of direction is so important for Felix at this point. He'll say it a lot of times in interviews, just his condition is better. He's watching the player improve. He's improving. He wants to certain goals. But rarely do I think he's like a tactical player. He's a really athletic, fit person. He kind of reminds me of Monfils a little bit, not completely, but yeah. I think the double faults will come in his game, but he still has to be on that first serve no matter what. If he hits a double fault for a break, if he hits a double fault for early 15 love, all those things that can't slow down your first serve for sure. Some people say Sinner had the mental tactic of taking the medical timeout. When as soon as Felix is just really hot in that second set. But that's the way the game is played. You always have to be on your feet, ready for an unexpected kind of mental adjustment. Even Felix said, he went toe to toe with Jannik Sinner. Everyone can tell that. I had him as the favorite even after that second set, but especially 6-3, that is just crazy to get. That's something that Sinner got off of Alcaraz, in the finals. So it's just, he has to match his skills up a little bit better. That's something simple, but not simple when you're in the U.S. Open semifinals, obviously. So I think his plan is just you know finding his mindset early on and being prepared to be an aggressive player, whether that's through one shot or another, and pretty much training his mentality to be able to withstand the beginning of the point, the end of the point, and clearing those margins up, especially when the skill level is going big in semifinals. I'm sure he had easy runs second round and all that, but he needs to know how to make that adjustment when he gets into the bigger steps in that ladder, in that draw, right? So yeah, I think overall, this to apply this to your game, I would definitely say learn on the run shots, learn how to take time away in the right moments when you're on the run. So sometimes you could be on the run, but it's not a complete full shot. So maybe slow things down and catch the opponent off guard. Because usually if opponent's looking for a battle, you can easily take them off guard. As soon as they slow things down, you slow them all the way. You really take them off guard that way. You really adjust the level to extremes, either completely slow or completely fast. That really overboards their consistent pressure, right? So even when I'm 6'2", but I face people that are taller than me, I know that's going to have to be the strategy that I use to take them off their game. Because if I go athleticism to athleticism, or just battle, that can completely turn into a lopsided score, for sure, because the shots will be there for both of us, but at the end, if I'm being overpowered even a little bit, that will really damage the score for me. So I really have to adjust the level all the time.